So speaking of big names, Brandon Overton gets the win. Overton wins. Corey Hedgecock second, and Chris Ferguson third. Pretty good race at Talladega, but overall, kind of, I would say Overton had to be one of the favorites, and he did come out on top. But I would say it was pretty good race. I mean, the lap traffic kept it interesting, and it did stay. It's hard to pass. Talladega's tight. I'll say that, but it wasn't one lane.
No, it wasn't. It's crazy because it was hard to pass, but it was just like guys were on the bottom, guys were on the top, and they're running side by side. It's just like it was the same speed,
Yeah,
but hard to pass. But usually when you say it's hard to pass, it's because it's one groove.
right,
But it really wasn't. The track was good. It was odd.
right.
I don't know.
I will say though, Hedgecock goes ninth to second, so he clearly made some moves and got up through there. But you really had to have something to go anywhere, is I guess what it comes down to as far as that goes. But it ended up being an interesting race. Is it fair to say that Overton dominated though the Hunt the Front Series opener?
Yeah, I would say so.
He I think if not for traffic, I don't know. I'd like to see. Obviously, if you have a few more laps there in traffic, I think Corey gives him might have a shot at him. All it takes is one car getting in his way.
Mm-hmm.
Getting squarely in front of him, and if we have about 5 more laps, and I talked with Corey about that in Victory Lane or in the podium interviews. He really wanted 5 more laps. He's felt the same way at Talladega last year when I think he ended up second or right there in a race, but anyway, but I think overall, I think Overton, you saw it whenever Ferguson got to him and kind of got outside of him. He just moves up and passes the lap cars, and kind of goes on. And I think he was, racing smart, saving his stuff, not pressing the issue in traffic, and probably could have, I don't know. Hedgecock probably, I think, had something for him, but it would have had to have been in heavy traffic, I think.
Joshua, the series promoter in you, how hard are you hitting up Overton now to run the tour, to commit to running the tour?
Man, it's tough. Obviously we want anyone who wants to run our series and thinks it's worthwhile to to run it. We're not going to turn anyone away, and Brandon Overton certainly not going to turn away. But yeah, you kind of like, man, if he runs this whole deal, it could.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. I think, like you just wonder, and I'm not saying, I think guys can compete with him, but if he were to get, with that new car,
Mm-hmm.
and a whole nother topic in itself. But if they, hit on something and get it right, like he's capable of, he dominated the national scene, right, for a couple years
Mm-hmm.
there, like he could certainly, things, he hits on stuff, and he's capable of dominating any series. And as a, series promoter, you're kind of like, that could be bad news for our,
Yeah.
hoping to spread. You want to see guys, it spread around like it was last year, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we had Joseph, Josh, and Will all right there, back and forth all year. Like, and if a guy, and it could happen last year, if one of those guys, the reason that was so tight is all 3 of those guys had issues, right? They
Right.
had problems. Got caught Joseph getting spun out at
Sonoya,
and getting
flat
tangled
tire
up
at
with
Duck
something
River.
at Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was almost like every time you expected one guy to kind of got some breathing room because the other 2 had some issues or a bad run, something happened to that guy, right? So like if Overton's capable of going on a, he's proven, like where he just can't do any wrong,
He is capable, but I think it's also notable that he's really good at Talladega. Like he won
a
lot of races. He won the
Mhm.
Outlaws race.
I don't
Like
care
he's
what
good
he
there.
says. Everybody's like, man, Talladega is so tricky, and I'm just never any good here. He's good there, right?
He's
Like, he
good.
said that in Victory Lane
Uh-huh.
or Heat Race interview, wherever it was. He said, "How man, I can't believe I'm just no good here. I always suck here." And it's like, clearly, you're good there,
right?
So,
Got to be
at
the
least since they
favorite for
put
the
wall up. Yeah.
Got to be the favorite for the World Outlaws show coming up in April.
Right.
There, I would imagine. I think the key there, or in my theory on that, is if you can, who knows what he's going to do. I hope he comes to Alltech in a few weeks. And then obviously if he's good there, we'll see. I would say, there's a chance he runs the tour, but it depends on, how he does. If he goes and has some bad luck and there's another race to go to, that might, that might sway him from it.
And I think it's worth noting, because I know that the announcer said some things about how points wise, this, that, and the other. Overton is the points leader, right, Joshua? Leaving Talladega.
Yeah, okay. So, and I've tried to stress that, and we had a lot of stuff going on in our live stream, and Lenny's first time as our announcer, so we didn't get to hit all the points and notes that we wanted to, but it is note that we just because it's not cut off at any point, and they are interested. We have talked with multiple drivers who are still interested in running our series. But you don't have to commit, right?
Right.
What's gonna, I think, to me, and there's two drivers specifically. If they're at Alltech, I think will commit because they will know, hey, provisionals, right? You have to be a
Mm-hmm.
loyalty program driver to get provisionals. If you're going to come down there and you're thinking about continuing on, come to our races and you're high up in points, why would you not go ahead and, it costs money, but at the end of the day, it guarantees you basically a starting spot. Some of these guys.
Is
Right.
the
So
cutoff? When is the cutoff for that loyalty program? Is it
there's
all
no
tech?
There's
cutoff.
not one.
There's no
Oh,
cutoff.
there's not.
Yeah,
Okay.
a guy could run all year and never join it. He won't get the
So
mid-season points fund though.
that's yes. So and it was in our rule book. It was in our post when guys signed up for a loyalty program, spelled out exactly the benefit. Along with free entry, you're prepaying really high discounted on in entry. It's $1,000, right, to sign up for the year.
Yeah.
It covers all your entry fees for the year as long as you stay committed full time on the series, and all that money goes toward our midseason points fund, right? Well, not all of it, but the majority of it. So pays our midseason points fund. So which is at least at minimum $500 to everyone who still has perfect attendance. After Sonoa, right, or
Right.
whatever ends up being, if that race were to get rained out or something, we'd back it up a race. But so that's what the loyalty program, along with some other benefits, is basically is that, and the real benefit or thing that would make a guy who's planning on running the series definitely sign up is you're not eligible for provisionals unless you're signed up, right? For that. So again, Overton and Ferguson, and there's a few others, Ethan Dotson,
Yeah.
Austin Kirkpatrick had shown some interest. There's a few others that I'm just going to come to your first race and kind of just go and see how it,
Right.
I'll probably be at Alltech, we'll see how it goes. Well, if you're high up in the points like Overton and Chris Ferguson, if you're coming to Alltech, you'll probably go to, Smoky Mountain, and then we're in the Carolinas where Overton's good and right in, Ferguson's wheelhouse, home area. I think if you come to Alltech, you sign up just because
Right.
that guarantees you provisionals for those races that you come to.
I think going back to the Overton conversation and Josh, the series promoter, and Josh was a little, you won't want a guy like that on your tour, but you also don't want a guy like that dominating and discouraging other guys. So I think, to me though, it's a little bit of you get a guy like Overton on there, you have a top level guy for guys to chase and to lift up, to improve their program. What's the iron sharpens iron, type of thing. But then also a key to that, if you can get a Fergie, you know what I mean, to also run the tour, like, then I think you also have another top level guy that doesn't make it so easy for an Overton to come in and dominate. So it's interesting to see where that shakes out. And if those guys stick with it, or who knows where that's going to go.